Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Oh boy, we've got a whole bunch of boxes here. It might look like a lot, but trust me, these will be all unboxed together. And then we've got 3 guitars here. So let's go ahead and start with this one. This is an instrument that I have been hunting for a long time, but I wanted a particular color. Unfortunately, this is not that particular color because I got a pretty good deal on it. It came from a pawn shop and it appeared to be a little bit beat up, but I think I've decided against using this as my review piece simply because I need to stay true to myself. I need to wait until I get the color that I actually want. Because they were a fairly new seller to Reverb and they're asking me to leave feedback, so we might as well get it open so I can give them some honest feedback. I mean, first off, their pack job, very, very adequate, very good, great sturdy box, good shipping materials. They've done all right by me so far. But let's go ahead and see what is this model that I've been looking for. I can guarantee you it is not an Epiphone like this case, though. It's a Blues Hawk. But it's red, so we don't want that. I don't know, I guess in person this does look pretty nice. Take a look at our headstock. Oh, yeah, you got that typical outline. That's nothing too crazy. I like the inlays on these things. They're very shiny. Wow. Even though that's likely a pearloid material, that's got a lot of shine to it. So this is just kind of a little bit of a teaser here for the Blues Hawk. I really do think I'll wait until I get the blue one, though. Not saying that this red doesn't look nice, and you can see through to that wood grain underneath it. It's got a little bit of figuring to it, nothing that I would necessarily call flame. Lots of finish checking, which appears to be common on these models. But of course, the coolest thing about the Blues Hawk is the P90 pickups, but in the back they have that dummy coil, kind of like what we saw on the Brian Ray SG Jr., so that kind of bucks some of the hum without them being, you know, the P100s. But I'm surprised at how light this body feels and how small it feels. I think it'd be fun to get one of those little Lucille versions too. It was like a B.B. King signature version of this guitar. But it looks like these guys knew how to pack it. If anything, they probably loosened the strings too much, and I normally don't suggest using newspaper inside of the case because sometimes the ink can bleed off onto the guitar or scratch it. Looks like our neck straight just needs a little bit of a truss rod adjustment. It appears we've got enough room to do that yet, so overall, definitely a nice buy. Cool. Now let's go ahead and hear a word from our sponsor.
Today's sponsor is Extra Smart Wallets. Made out of premium leather, Extra holds your money and cards securely while keeping your information safe from pickpocketers using RFID scanners. So this safe wallet is about the size of a regular one, but with the click of a button, I love this feature, you get access to all your cards neatly displayed out like this. And they're not going to fall out accidentally either. I mean, look at me, I'm trying to knock it out of place right here. This company also has solar-powered tracking cards available. My viewers can get 15% off their purchase using code Trogly15 at checkout and by using the link in the description. They've also just recently come out with this new aluminum card holder one. Comparing it with their other wallet, it's even slimmer, so if you don't carry cash on you, that one will probably be better. But real talk for a minute here, this has to be one of my favorite sponsors because I just genuinely like their little wallets. The clicking feature, it's just so soothing. It makes me feel great whenever I need to take my card out to pay something. It's like you're making a statement. So go ahead, check out their website. Maybe you'll find something that you'll like. And thank you, Extra, for sponsoring another episode of my show.
Our next one here, let's go ahead and do the one that doesn't actually have a box. Now, no, thankfully, this time it's not somebody that just shipped me something in a case. This was something local that I had purchased. I had somebody email me, and they were kind of like weirded out by it, like they thought they were scaring me away by saying, hey, do you want to buy this guitar? I can drive it to you. It's like, yeah, that happens more often than you think. I prefer just buying it and then them shipping it, but I think this guy said he was from Angola or something. But he had just ran across my video about these guitars. I think he said his mom got it or he bought it back when he was in high school, something like that. But he's saving up for some boutique guitar, so he decided to sell this thing off. So what sleeps in here is a 1990 limited colors edition Les Paul Custom. And this one's actually in pretty good shape. I mean, it's got some finish checking on the headstock, as these very commonly do. However, I mean, the rest of it, maybe some light buckle worming on the back. A nice, almost collector's grade. It depends how picky you are. If you're a pristine collector, yeah, maybe not. But if you're just a collector of fine examples, I think you'll like this one. So what makes this one special is the finish. It's definitely brighter than a wine red, a little bit brighter than cherry even. But the thing is, you can see through to the wood grain. They only did 2 Les Paul customs in this series. The other one's a translucent white, and it is super popular in comparison to this one. This is kind of one of my least favorite ones from the series, but it's a collectible guitar nonetheless from 1990. So I thought I would share that with you guys here today. If you really want this guitar, you can reach out to me about it, but I think I will save a full review and demo of this one till December. I mean, it's a red guitar. Just wear some green or put a green hat on it. It all makes sense. I mean, Christmas is coming up here in what, like a month or two? Wow. Time's just flying by. Next up, let's unbox 4 things at once with just the snap of my finger. It's just 4 empty cases. I figure since I'm doing reviews of Fender guitars lately, it's nice to have a spare case or 2 just in case, you know, something doesn't originally ship with one, or it comes with a gig bag. I can offer the upgrade to people. I guess it's a nice little opportunity for us to compare the cases. So these are more expensive, whereas these wooden ones, I think they're like, what, $50 cheaper? I like the latches of these much better, and the handle, it's not gonna break on you. They're a little bit lighter in weight. However, since these are built for Stratocasters and Tellys, there's a little bit of movement in both of the cases. Nice large compartment there. And ultimately, I think this one's a little bit lighter in weight. Now, since these are made of real wood, it depends where they have them made. Sometimes they can be really heavy, other times not. This one actually feels pretty lightweight. The latches on these, they feel good, just not as good as the TSAs. I love the TSAs because you open them with these little buttons right here. It's very satisfying. But this one still has a nice little compartment in there, and it holds your guitar just fine. But one upside to these guys is it looks like they're a little bit taller, but they're a little bit less of a profile. So I think for shipping, this might technically be easier. But all in all, it's kind of a flimsy case. I think it's definitely worth paying a little bit more. Well, even these ones have a little bit of give to them. You have to remember that's just the plastic outer shell, whereas it's got all this padding on top of that. So all in all, I think if you're going to buy a separate case, I would probably recommend these. I guess if you have a more vintage guitar, you'll want the slightly more vintage-esque looking case. And lastly, I picked up a few things for the studio, I guess you could call it. Let's see what I got. Nice. Okay, so I've been getting really annoyed with my cables tangling themselves. So I figure if I get a pre-coiled cable, not only does it look cool and vintage, it's not gonna tangle up against stuff. Hopefully. And I kind of like that one is a 90-degree angle jack. So if I have an SG, I can use it like that. Otherwise, it'll just be plugged directly into my amp. This thing's really heavy. I don't know, maybe I don't like it because it's so heavy. Anyways, my first new coiled thing, and I picked up some 8-gauge strings. Why? I don't know. Just thought I would try them. Those two, yeah, they're still full reviews and demos, so we'll get to those eventually now that I'm caught up on all of my consignment pieces and things like that. So our last guitar that we have to unbox today is one that we saw a couple of weeks ago that I was really happy that I got the opportunity to document. This is one of the other ones that's finally come in, which I was kind of scared because this was the dealer that I only ordered one from, and I couldn't get a hold of them again after I ordered it. It was like a month went by before they finally got back. And I was just trying to check up to see when they might be getting theirs because these were all separated into a bunch of different batches. And when they did eventually get back to me, they're like, yeah, we don't have any ETA. You just gotta be patient, man. So I was like, okay, thanks. So I was fully expecting that this would be a wait until like January or February. But thankfully, it was only, what, 2 weeks later? So this might be a second run. Or who knows, maybe it's just a late first run of the Oscar Telly. So I think this is the last one that is being shipped to me. All the other ones, they're going directly to the people that I was purchasing it for. Mainly because they were living in different countries. Like, I know there's at least one in Canada. But if you want to learn more about this interestingly colored Telecaster, check out that full review and demo. It's based off of an anime, and I had a lot of fun with this thing. I mean, it might be a made-in-Japan Telecaster that is way too expensive for what it actually is, but it's just a lot of fun. Yeah, this one has to be a second run because it's number 10353, whereas my last one was number 69, and people were having a heyday that in the bridge pickup it was marked 420. The owner of that one's really happy, but this one's still pretty cool too. So, to start off our boxing segment, just unboxed it. I'll check it over, but the next thing that you guys are gonna know is that it's being shipped off to its new home. Mint green case, that tells you it's the Parallel Universe version 2. I can't remember, did one of them have the blue case yet? I'm hoping one of them does, if I haven't seen it already. But this is the Troublemaker Deluxe. Such a cool guitar. Was not really looking forward to doing this white one. I actually initially thought that I was just going to skip this one because it's too similar to the black one. But I'm so happy that, you know, I got it anyways, because it actually turned out to be quite a beautiful guitar with the black binding. And now that I've actually compared the spec sheets, they are very different guitars. So I think this is definitely a contender. Is it the number one so far out of the ones I've reviewed? It's kind of in a tied position with that and the Uptown Strat. I love the way that this thing looks, but for some reason I like the way that the other one feels. Speaking of the Uptown Strat, this one actually needs to go all the way to New Zealand. So this is not the one that I did the full review and demo on. We unboxed it within the show, but then we did not touch it, and he preferred this one because, you know, it has all the protective film on it and everything. So this thing has got a long way to go, but the case doesn't stay open. So that's about all I'm going to say for this one. But this model seriously surprised me. I love the way the headstock looks. It's kind of an acquired taste on the body. I'm starting to appreciate it a bit more, but man, the sound and the feel on these are just fantastic. And this one, my review piece, it took about a week and a half to sell. But once again, great guitars. Not much more to say since we just talked about the other one. This one doesn't have to go all the way to New Zealand though. It's only going to California. But sadly, that other one will likely get to New Zealand before this one gets to California. It's funny how that works out sometimes. But that one also costs like 5 times more, so of course it'll get there quicker. The last of my buddy's Les Paul Customs, the 1980, I believe. Scratch that, early 1981. So what ended up happening with this one is I detected a slight twist within the neck. So I had to sell this one for a lot less than I sold that other one for, but hey, it's still a great guitar. A twisted neck, it's not always a death sentence for these things. And in fact, this one, I really believe most of the twist is just actually within the headstock. The neck itself is actually looking okay. And that's pretty common to find on these 70s and 80s Gibson Les Paul Customs. Most places just don't disclose it. So always check that before buying a guitar, because sometimes a twisted neck will cause a bunch of fret buzzing. This one, it's honestly not too bad. If it was bad, I would have sent it back. But I believe this one's going to live in Illinois for a little bit, and he's really excited. I think he said it was his first vintage purchase, something like that, and he's going to be playing it quite a bit. He was impressed with how clean this one was looking. It was definitely played, but it hasn't, you know, super aged, and I think that's exactly what he was going for. Thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning into this boxing and unboxing episode. Don't forget to visit our sponsor, Skillshare, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.